And that is what we do every single day of the week. It is the Pundit's Pundit, and I am your moderator, Denzel Snipes, as always. And we've got a loaded show for you. But just like you've so graciously seen at the beginning, the video that was just shown, it's a plethora of shows out there. I mean, it's not just the Pundit's Pundit. It's Confidential, which is coming on later on tonight after the Sports Exchange, featuring one of our own, Scott Morganrath. But it's also Unfiltered Truth, Ball Don't Lie, The Gauntlet, Sideline Sports Show. You name it, we got it. We are for the people. So please, like every episode you watch, but more importantly, hit that subscribe button. But you know what? I can't do this show alone, so I say let's get it rolling. We got the architect, Jacob Christener, and we have the Motor City Madmouth, Scott Too Hottie Morganrath. Get on in here.
Well, that's the only time he'll get called Too Hottie.
Hey, listen, I got the name spelled right here. You should be getting it. You should look at the name now instead of the Wrath. It's an O, not an A. I deliberately respelled it so you could get it right, but that's okay. You get a mulligan because first time I brought it up to you, but glad to be back on. We are going to have a heck of a show, I guarantee. We're going to have a great doubleheader tonight.
This guy gives himself mulligans and putt-putt.
Yeah, right. I don't know. Last time I played on a miniature golf course was out in Hilton Head, South Carolina. Boy, I felt my age that day, let me tell you. Humidity doesn't do a 59-and-a-half-year-old body a whole lot of good. Now I've hit the 60 plateau, but
whatever. You'll be 100 one day, and then you'll feel it.
Yeah. If I told you some of the quotes that my doctors have said, a 50-year-old body, 50-year-old man and a 90-year-old body, although I have a much different doctor from the Mayo Clinic. He doesn't give me that. He just tells me what to do and expects me to do it. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Mayo Clinic, what does that tell you? He's
right.
Good.
Yeah. Well, Scott definitely doesn't feel 100 tonight. He's had his Mountain Dew. And anytime he's had his Mountain Dew, you can go ahead and bring that ticker down to about the 20s, 30s, you know. So every time he's
a little bit of water
it's like
later on as the night goes on, but I've had enough Mountain Dew to build up to this plateau for sure.
We're gonna have to get Pepsi, PepsiCo for a sponsor, for this whole thing with Mountain Dew.
Yeah, well, let's see, we can work on it. We'll have our corporate headquarters out and wherever it's at. Go out there and I'll be, hey, listen, if Jared could go ahead and preach Subway and no reason why I can't pitch that in Mountain Dew. I'll just, we can come up with the thing of the commercial. You have gas stations, you got Mountain Dew, and I'm the car that you put the Mountain Dew. There, a little bit of commercial stuff here. Go ahead.
Hey, there you go. And I mean, well, let's face it, it's your own personal fountain of youth, because we all know every time you drink Mountain Dew, you're 31 again. I don't know when that wears off, but it's clearly when you're off the air.
No. It's kind of like he drinks Mountain Dew because like Incredible Hulk, only it lasts a little longer, and then he gets tired and goes back to old.
I haven't heard that one before, but I got to give you credit, JC. That's pretty good stuff, man. I might like that one.
You might have changed his name to Scott Banner.
Yesterday, after the humidity over at FAU.
Scott Morgan Hulk.
Yeah.
Hey, I like that one.
Yeah, actually different. You know what? Send it to my wife, although we're not trademarking. I went to the trademark of the motors.
Right.
No, but I'll tell you, way after my work, the last 2 days over with Miami Hurricanes Pro Day and then FAU, and yesterday was more of a muggy day. I really felt like it was 150 after the humidity and the mugginess down in South Florida. I didn't have that problem at Miami because we have an indoor facility, so it's easier. It's called 70 degrees with no humidity. But when I came back to reality yesterday at FAU, I mean, don't get me wrong, I accomplished a lot on both days over at UM and FAU, but you can tell a bit of a difference in the humidity and air conditioning between the two places. So.
Yeah.
Good work for the show, though, at FAU for what we're going to be talking about tonight, though.
Hey.
Nice.
We have some topics tonight. We have some big topics tonight, don't we?
Absolutely. And let's get on to our first one. And this one may ruffle a few feathers, but hey, that's what we're here for. So, Leah Thomas, celebrated as a woman in women's history by ESPN. Jake, this was the swimmer, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Okay, so just a brief synopsis. When he was his natural born man self, he was on the swim team. He was competing in the men's. and he was the something like 400 ranked swimmer in
465, I think.
465 ranked in the nation. The next year, he went trans and competed in the women's division and won the whole thing. He, she, whatever he wants to identify himself as today, won the national championship. As a matter of fact, I don't know if you guys saw the photo of the not the ceremony, but kind of the coronation. You know, when they're on the first, second, and third place. But the second and third placer, they actually moved away from him and they took like their own picture. But this right here, and you know, this actually kind of feeds into the World Athletic Council had actually just banned transgenders from competing against like naturally born women. And that's a whole nother topic in itself. But it does tie into what we're doing here, because I still say the worst one in recent memory was the MMA fight in Bellator MMA, when you had a trans woman in the ring with a natural born woman in the women's division, and he broke her orbital bone. Now, some detractors may say like, well, obviously, dummy, they're in the same weight class, okay? Well, dummy, man naturally born versus woman naturally born. Men are naturally stronger, they're naturally faster. How did you think this was gonna go? And yeah, they caught some heat for it. But back to Leah Thomas, he's being celebrated, and this is akin to when what's dude face's name? Jenner. I'm gonna say Kardashian. You may as well call him Kardashian. Yeah. When he won Woman of the Year. So yeah, it's kind of. I gotta ask Jake.
Is it Caitlyn Jenner now or Bruce? I don't.
It's Caitlyn.
Whatever he chooses to wake up as this morning.
Let's call it K Bruce.
Here's the thing. I'm gonna start it off with Jacob.
Okay.
Between the Caitlyn Jenner Woman of the Year and the Leah Thomas thing, is this pandering at its finest?
Yes, and call him Liam. It's Liam. I'm not going to go with this Leah. It's Liam. I'm not going with this Leah crap. I am not going with a guy who looks 6'6" on the podium and saying I'm a woman. No. He's 465 in the world as a man, and he goes into that thing and wins with women. No. You don't see trans men going into that thing and trying to find out. You don't ever see it ever. You don't see them, because guess what? They're still women. They're not going to be strong enough to go into that. They're not. They'll be back to 465 again, maybe more. Hello, Will. What's going on? How you doing? But no. This is agitating because we're not seeing enough women fight this. We're not seeing enough women anywhere near fight this. We're not seeing them complain. They're so darned afraid. I mean, you're at a point right now where you had Sage Steele talk something minor about politics, and on the ESPN it gets suspended, but Bomani Jones gets away with it. We're at that level, and it's like how many of the girls are conservative and they're afraid for their dang deals? And it's like, at some point they're just gonna have to quit being afraid.
Yeah,
they're gonna have to quit being afraid. It's like, this is not political. This is not a politics thing. This is legitimate biology. And a man's skeleton is stronger and thicker than a woman's skeleton. It does not matter what it doesn't matter what the weight class is. And for one thing, Liam Thomas had a much thicker skeleton, also a lot longer limbs. Also, plus the extra training from a man's standpoint. None of this is right. This is pandering on a complete and utter level. And at some point, every single woman's going to have to walk out of these things until this stops. You can put a transgender division if you're going to have to. But
thank you. I've said it the whole time.
To do that, but every woman's going to have to walk out and just not have an event until this crap stops.
Yeah, I mean, if Caitlyn Jenner all of a sudden wanted to put on 50 pounds of muscle and compete in UFC, you don't stick him in the ring with Ronda Rousey or Holly Holm. Obviously, like, you know what I mean? You put him in a ring with Brock Lesnar where he belongs.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, this is the thing I say with this, and I mean this with every bit. when that starts happening, we're going to see that the transgender level, as we say, maybe when it ceases. But until that point, somebody's going to get hurt. What if like you said, that could have killed that woman in that ring?
Yeah.
Could have killed that woman in that ring for doing that in the first place. But it's like, we put this on ourselves every time we pander. Every time I'm going to go back a little deeper onto something whatsoever. Every time we try to get something whatsoever. Back in the days, okay, let's just say this. I'll put it in the history of Black history, okay? 1923, Black Wall Street.
Yes.
On their own, making their own money, and it gets burned to the ground. And it's like, and they weren't bothering on the thing. They're making their own money. And that gets to the ground. Then you get some black music. It's taken. This is not me pandering on this thing. This is just a truth from life.
It is.
It's a truth from life. Then you get some black. Here's the deal. You get black music. There's Elvis. And then there's Frank Sinatra takes it and stuff like that. So the black people I'm looking through this through history. So black people go to you got to remember, they dressed in class with the way the suits and everything like that. So
the Duke Ellingtons of the world, and the Duke Ellingtons of the world.
Yeah, Duke Ellington.
The Sammy Davises. Yeah, Frank Sinatra.
And then guess what? Frank Sinatra shows up with it, and then it's all those, and then Dean Martin it away.
And that's the thing that really got to him, because it's like, okay, they got a black person in the group, but he's dressed the same way as Dean Martin, as Frank Sinatra, as like everybody else, right?
Right.
He's looking just as good as them.
And I'm just doing this to make the point on my little story on this. So then the black people wanted their own culture. They go get hip hop, but then Eminem becomes one of the top 5 of all time, and then it gets them mad. Then they try to get their kind of clothes, the way they want to dress. And then you get white kids who want to put the braids on. It's like, so you get to this thing. So now we go into this, and it's like, has it the point where you see it on the media and the men and testosterone is vilified to an unbelievable level? It's like, okay, Scott, you know this. Remember all the ads about trucks and during football thing, and like tools and all that kind of stuff that you used to see. Men's men, truckers, and every type. And it's like Ace is a place for helpful hardware man, which is helpful hardware folks now. But every man and every fixer uppers and all stuff, they were men's men. Now all you get is feminized men on television. And it's because there is such a fear to put testosterone around unless you put it in a streaming network where it's seen by select people. And then you get this, and now because of all this, now I believe this is becoming a fad where men turn themselves into women. It's like you can get it on TikTok. I'm just using all of these things as a storyline. Every time someone decides to shame somebody and they try to change, we get all this. We get the disaster of everything. And we have to stop. This stuff's got to stop, because now women, now you're getting the thing. Now women they're in danger. They're seriously in danger, and they got to fight for themselves. Because we can fight for them all they want to get, but again, it's going to look like men fighting for women again.
Yeah.
It's just going to bring it up, and I was going to go to you, Scott. It's like, you remember what we talked about with those ads and what it used to be.
Right. Well, I'm going to throw some stuff at you guys. You talk about a curveball and a screwball all rolled into one. Well, I'm listening to you guys talk about this subject. Here is a screwball, fastball, and a curveball all thrown into one. Now, I know I had my eyes dilated today because I had an eye doctor appointment, and I get that. But I am reading on here that Leah Thomas celebrated as a woman's history by ESPN. Okay. Yes, I can read ESPN like I can read the 4 letters over at the eye doctor today, most of which I didn't get right anyway, so that's beside the point. Yeah, I had to do that, and then they had all that other business. Yeah, I got more, and all the razors that they put in there. Oh, give me a break. Can I tell you something, my brothers there?
Yeah.
I haven't watched that stupid network prior to the Super Bowl, and I will be dead in hell before I watch it probably again, unless there's a game on there that doesn't involve the lackluster talent that they have on there. And I'll tell you where I'm going with this. Number one, this is the same darn network that didn't know Chuck Hughes died of a heart attack, was the only guy that died on the NFL field, and I was at that game. Number one. They didn't know the history of the NFL, that everybody, don't get me wrong, nothing against Damar Hamlin, but he was, thankfully the kid recovered. Chuck Hughes was there, and I watched a guy die in front of my face at the age of 8. Now, with that said, okay, ESPN is your source. Now, if I heard correctly, they're going to be laying off more and more people now, aren't they, right, in the coming months? And who knows how much talent's going to be there. So if you think I'm going to go out there and say no disrespect to a transgender individual, because that's what I'm going to say, individual, okay, celebrated by ESPN, okay, let me tell you, good luck. Now, I have changed my allegiances to Fox, okay? I love Skip and Shannon for Undisputed. You have a player and a journalist, okay? More like what you're going to have with celebrity, okay, JB, and journalist me, okay? So as far as I'm concerned, okay, I like Colin Cowherd. I like real journalism. I don't like any pseudo network desperately trying to cling on to make news or fake news. You know what's going to eventually happen? ESPN's going to be in the fake news business before it's all said and done. So do you think I'm going to go out there and no disrespect to women and Women's History Month? That's got nothing to do with this whole conversation. I'm with you, Jacob. If they're going to have any of these kinds of things, maybe they should have a woman, man, and transgender. I think that's probably the smartest thing to do it, because that way you differentiate all three of them in different class based on body size, testosterone, or whatever. So all I'm going to tell you, my brothers here, is ESPN, if that's you're celebrating it on that particular network, which is going downhill, good luck, whoever you are, Thomas. I'm not drinking the ESPN Kool-Aid no more.
I get a real feeling that a lot of this pandering, and it's just a theory, but I get a feeling that a lot of this pandering has to do, you got to remember that there's so many layoffs. There's so many things going on, so much lost money, so much everything, and they keep going. I really get a feeling that there's a lot of this is trying to take down the just regular everyday society as it is. It's a theory. But I get the feeling they try to get this, because usually money would tell them to stop this. Money would tell them to stop this. Money would tell them that, that guess what? It's like, and this doesn't, and what I say right now, this doesn't say that women aren't badass. Women are more badass than ever right now. Guess what? Guess what? Iowa and I forget the other game. The team.
South Carolina.
Yeah. That game got more viewers than any NBA game this season. 2 million.
Yeah, I read that.
But yeah, women are more badass than they ever have been before. But this is the truth about men with testosterone. There's the women without this. Even with it, this is biology. I mean, they don't want to hear. You get a man, an untrained man against a woman, a trained woman, and a woman's going to kick the absolute living crap out of him.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there is no question about it, no anything. I mean, look at any kind of stuff. I tell you, they're still athletes. But you give 1 year to a man, with some kind of testosterone, with some kind of everything. You give it and go against each other, MMA fight, whatever. It's basically, if you don't want to be nasty, you play Incredible Hulk and it's just hold them down.
Well, then let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
Well, let me ask you a question. Interesting point. So what are you going to do with a transgender individual like this in golf? You're going to stick them on the women's tee or the men's tee? What are you going to do there?
I'm sticking nowhere.
I'd put them on. I mean, if you had the choice between women's.
Well, men's. Obviously. Men's.
Yeah, well,
that's
men's. It's got to be like that across the board.
Well, yeah, that's exactly where I was going with this whole thing. So, everybody, we're talking about a network that right now is really declining really badly because, number one, they've lost sight of who their identity is, okay? And here's where I'm going with it, okay? And I know you'll understand that when you take away the Chris Bermans, the Bob Lees, and all your great historical people that you can relate from generation to generation with some of this new garbage you got out there. Give me a break. You know, why do you think everything's going to fall apart? Because it's just gotten to the point where it's unwatchable. I'm not trying to take away from this subject at all. I'm trying to give you guys a lesson is the credibility of the source of where it's coming from about a network, which has definitely gone hell. They've invested, I think, in some of the wrong properties by spending too much on them, and they have to be looking at their type of thing. Now, don't get me wrong, the ESPYs is a good thing they have going there. You know, everybody wants to talk about, I mean, I have nothing. Plus, a lot of it has to do with cancer research. So some of what they're doing is admirable and fine. I have no problem. But when you're going to sit here, hey, listen, I have nothing against Black History Month. There's a lot of good stuff that you put into that whole deal, as well as women history as well. But the reality is we're trying to differentiate and draw the line about what classification that individual should belong in. And if you've taken enough tests, A, B, or none of the above would be your popular answer, and falling into what you're saying, Jacob, in terms of transgender. That's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to say anything that would be outrageous, controversial, or anything that would get me in trouble. And I wouldn't, if I say something, I feel strong about it. But I've learned the only way you survive in this business is be objective, and that's it. Opinions are only as good as a fact, but you got to maintain objective and look at everything, the entirety of its entire whole. And the reality is, if a transgender individual is being celebrated by that network, come on.
Yeah. I have, and I'm just saying, I mean, I'm telling you this, Jay knows exactly what I'm talking about because I've said it before. I have everything against Black History Month and everything against Women History Month because Black History and Women History are completely year-round and life-round. I've said this to you before, Jay. As I said, I have everything against both those months because they shouldn't be relegated to a month. It's life. It's life. It's part of life. I do have. I mean, I get what you were saying. Right. I get what you were saying, Scott. I was just saying I have every issue with it because it is life. Black history's been our life for a whole lifetime. It's like it's what the school. I am for. It's like I can't stand when I hear about schools. It's like people fight between do we what's a way to say this? Excuse me. Do we teach? Thank you for the thing. Do we teach Black History Month? Do we teach Black History Month and slavery and all that kind of stuff like they're trying in the 1619 Project? Which, there's theories based off of that. Some of it is false and some of it's true. But either way, do we teach it like that? Or do we teach the regular independence, Declaration of Independence and the regular stuff? How about both?
Well, if you're going to go that far as I'm concerned, what do you got? 365 days a year, unless you got leap year, which is 366. What do we got? Hot dog day. We got ice cream day. We got this and that. And you got 365 of these little banana, whatever you want to call it, days, when hot dog day should be 366 days. You got pizza day. Give me a break. Everybody's got a day. Everybody's got a month. There's perception and reality. And I'm not losing sight of what the topic of conversation is at all, but all I'm doing is pretty much going back where you're at, Jacob, okay? Everybody's getting a ballpark. Frank probably, I don't know if getting 360. I don't know about the July 4th holiday with Kobayashi and all these people stuffing those dogs down their grill and not gaining more than a few pounds until they swim it off. You know what I mean? But the reality is it's all a part of life, right? We don't limit it to a month. We limit it to an entire year in and year out. So I think you're selling it short. But again, maybe I'm attacking the other network, which is really declined so badly, and you're only wondering about the credibility of the source of where it's come from, and that they've really got, like you said, Sage Steele, gets suspended, and who was the one that did, get suspended?
Bomani Jones, and Bomani's gone. He's at HBO, but the thing is though, it's continuous. It's like, but Bomani put the Caucasians. Remember they put that shirt on, Jay?
Right.
He put that Caucasian shirt on, and it's like. Here's the thing. If you want to put that in as a deal, that's fine. But why is Sage Steele getting it? It's like we can't have a double standard in life here.
Well, that's true. So that's true. So let me ask you both a quick question. I know we're probably going a little longer on this one.
That's fine.
Well, the reality is when they hired Rush Limbaugh, didn't you know what the heck you were hiring to begin with? And all of a sudden they got nervous and they booted him off in a matter of a few weeks. Come on, you mean to tell me you're building up this guy to come on your network for your NFL coverage? You knew the guy was a bit controversial. You decided to roll the dice with him anyways. All of a sudden, we made a mistake. Then you had to salvage. everything. Give me a break. You know what?
Yeah.
I think they wanted to embarrass him, and they knew
they didn't want to. I mean, it's your classic. I mean, it's almost like that job that hires someone that they really shouldn't have because they didn't do their due diligence. They didn't do their background check.
Right.
He
Yeah.
comes in on the first day, and then the boss gets pulled to the side. You know, he killed 3 people like 20 years ago, right? He just got
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
And you just put him in charge of the children's department.
Yeah.
Good move.
But the whole reality of the situation, if you know what you're getting, then you have remorse after you see him a few times. Give me a break. That's the way I look at it. Okay. You mean to tell me you don't do your due diligence about a lot of things that you're doing before you make the decision? If you make a decision, sometimes you make a mistake, but you got to go with it anyways. And then you reevaluate it on a year-to-year basis, not quit with 2 or 3 weeks into the whole thing. But the reality is to me, you got to stand up for you believe in and have confidence in your own knowledge and experience about what you're trying to do.
And real quick before we move on, and Scott, to your point, you got to think this isn't the oil field business, okay? This isn't like banking or anything like that.
Right.
We're in the business of news. We're in the business of journalism. Due diligence is a foundation. Right. Anyone who's ever gotten a degree in journalism would know that. Scott, I know you know that. I know anyone else, everybody doesn't know that. Your due diligence, that's your foundation.
Frank Reynolds.
So how do you just bypass that step altogether?
I was waiting for the Frank Reynolds. I heard that. Hey, was I right about him though? At least, Jacob.
That's right. I was watching clips of Frank Reynolds, and you should see how angry. You should see how angry Frank Reynolds was when they got it wrong. They were saying that his press secretary Jim Brady died when he got shot.
Oh yeah.
And when he found out it wasn't true, he got angry on the air.
Yeah, I told you that.
He wanted to kill him.
I told you that. I told you. I mean, he's a guy that you idolize, and again, I saw this. When this happened when I was in high school, I don't know where you guys were at, but I was a little further into the game than you guys were. I told you he's a great journalist, and I was waiting for your Frank Reynolds reference.
Oh yeah,
but it's about getting it right. Factual error to me is as bad as an expletive in life. You got to get it right, and that's like you said, Dan. Okay, the foundation is built on principles and accuracy, and unfortunately, in this day of new media, if you want to call it that, all those ethics went out down the drain, really.
And one thing
but I'll also play devil's advocate and say that the people also play a role in it too, because somewhere along the walk of life, this isn't the same crowd as back in like the 90s or even the 2000s. Nowadays, you have people who have traded in truth for illusion. They would rather be delusional than hear the truth. They'd rather hear what they want to hear instead of what they need to hear. So to a certain extent, they are to blame too.
And you want to know something else? Here's another thing. Sorry. But some of my best friends that have been in the business, you know what they tell me? I'm glad I got out of it when I did.
Yeah. But
you'll hear that from a lot.
Yeah. Everybody, that's everybody too, Jay. Right, left, center, everything. Why do you just go to Twitter and find the delusion? Go to sports, the news that we know and the thing that they believe has become just like the sports fans. That it's become no different from the sports fans that will play 3 minutes of their favorite player's clip, forgetting all of the crap that they have done. And guess what? That's too. And these are the things that I was bringing before we go on to our deal. Everything that I was talking about, let's talk. I guarantee you, if there would be, whether it's legislation or people doing it voluntarily, if we taught everything in a history class over a 9-month year, and even into the summer or did everything like that, there was no politics involved and nobody's opinion. And so what was real? Separating fact from fiction. If we were to do something like that, I guarantee you it would not be a controversy. What makes it the controversy is everybody's delusion of what they want to think what happened. Guess what? The signature of 1776 happened. I'm talking about the Bill of Rights happened. Those happened.
Right.
Are they perfect? No, they weren't. Also, the slave trade happened. Also, you go all the way back to the many, many different countries that did it too.
Yeah.
Keep teaching different things. I promise it's not controversial, but what makes it controversial is everybody's delusion.
True, absolutely. Well, I did want to before we move on, I did want to cover this one just real quick, maybe no
Sure.
longer than 5 minutes, because I got a feeling the one following that is probably going to take up the rest of the telecast. So,
Oh, that. Okay.
as of late,
Oh,
there
goodness.
was a Mississippi woman. She's in Columbus, Mississippi, and she shot and killed her husband on Facebook Live. So those of y'all who don't know, her name was Khadijah. She was Khadijah Brown. She was on Facebook Live, and so the story goes that her husband had woken up and he was actually getting ready to go to work, and the argument started because he didn't have time to cook his kids. They had 4 children. He didn't have time to cook his kids breakfast because he was going to work. Now, mind you, on Facebook Live, she's talking, she's antagonizing him and everything. Her own mother, his mother-in-law, is in the back antagonizing him and everything, and she's slapping him, hitting him. He's like, and he even gets on the phone and he's like, hey, I need a police escort, and then the police was like, we don't do that. So then he got online with one of his female cousins, was like, hey, I need you to come over here. This woman's putting her hands on me. And so it just keeps going and going, and then the wife pulls a gun, and it's like, oh, well, put the gun down. I don't know why you want to shoot me. Put the gun down. And she steady antagonizing him, hitting him. And then she puts the phone down. You hear more fussing, and then you hear a bang and loud screams and everything. Apparently, he got shot in the head. He died actually on scene. The kids ran out of the back. They were crying for their dad. The first thing the woman says is, I don't want to go to jail, and it's just, my whole thing about it is and I was watching a clip earlier. I'll pass it on to Jacob here after I say this. So I was watching a clip earlier, and the commentator made a great point. Normally, I'm not a fan of putting marital problems and business on Facebook, but this is the one time where you're glad that it was, because it could lead to convicting this woman. So I'll swing it over to Jacob. Your thoughts about this situation, and if you think that although, tragic in a tragic light, that being caught on camera was actually a good thing because of what could transpire in court.
Yes, and it's very, very true. But here's the thing also. It happened that way because people are living their lives too much on social media.
Right.
See, we do, but we're building a startup network. You know what I'm saying? We're building a startup network where we're trying to get stations to follow us to do this. We're trying to get sponsors. We're trying to get all this stuff. We're working, all of us at all times, trying to get to these. And you know what I'm talking about with South Florida Tribune. This guy. Oh, yeah. We're all trying to do this. But people like this all their lives is just fake people. Maybe they know one or two, maybe, but the rest of it is just followers. It's just everything. And then they do that, and then they watch. You know what they watch? They watch. I'm just gonna say it. They watch World Star Hip Hop. Then they watch YouTube. Then they watch YouTube, and then everything is fights. It's violence. It's everything like that. It is street fights. It is something you see on a subway. That's all they see in their head all the time. What do they watch on TV? Reality television. Mm-hmm. Reality, because it's the most real thing they see. There's nothing else that's real to them. Right. So then, you know what's real in a marriage? Strife. What's real is fights. It's real, it's stress. What's real, it's everything. But they're watching everything fake. So what does she do? She does what she sees on YouTube. She does what she sees on YouTube and on the World Star and all these things. Violence. She sees all those things. And it's like, and that's the sad part. Yeah, she's going to go to jail because that was on video. But then why are we shocked? Why are we shocked that that's on video? Because that's all their life they know.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, and you're absolutely correct. It's like, granted, yes, you have the World Star, and everybody's on camera fighting, and it's actually sad and scary because that has somehow, and this isn't the first time I've seen incidents of an Instagram Live or Facebook Live, and people are outright waving guns on camera saying, I will come and get you, And then here you have a toxic wife that has shot and killed her husband because he was getting ready to go to work to provide for that household. And the kids in which you or your mother could have been the one cooking the breakfast, and then this never happens. But I want to swing it over to Scott and your thoughts about this, because I don't know if you read the article briefly or anything like that, but I know it had to have been disturbing.
You know what? I'm not used to having short comments because I really get long-winded. But if you didn't believe in the death penalty, believe in it. This woman should be executed, period. I don't care. What more do you need to know? Facebook Live. She's going to put the not guilty plea in. Good luck.
Yeah. Here's the thing. When he said, here, I'll put that gun down, blah, 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 blah. How many times did she wave that gun at him? How many in their lifetime with everything? How much
that's the true story.
She show to him? How many times did she? And it's like, it's obvious that's not the first time you smacked on him. Not the first time, obviously. This is the thing. As I just said, all of this happens because we live in fairy tale worlds all the time. It started with getting the Sims, and you're building a whole simulation of a life. You know, from building a house to getting a marriage. That was the Sims. Right. Everything is a simulation. Everything in their life is a simulation. This is a simulation. It says, the Facebook Live is a simulation. You barely know any of these people if you know them at all. You get followers.
But you know what? Call what you want. But a man is dead. The woman killed him. I don't care how you sit here and slice this pie in 4 slices, 6 pieces, 8 pieces, whatever. Sim. The bottom line is a woman killed her husband on Facebook Live. And as far as I'm concerned, she should be executed, whether it's through lethal injection, electric chair, firearms. It doesn't matter how it comes.
And now the kids gonna be screwed up the rest of their life.
Exactly. So now they don't have any parent. So on the surface, you can sit here and justify it. Not that you are justifying it any way you want.
Oh, never.
But if there's ever a situation where you needed capital punishment, this would
be it. This would absolutely be it. This is not. I'm just got a short message that I'm posting on it real quick before we move on. I can't stress this enough. And I know whenever you spend time with people and you have history, that it can be hard to walk away. I get it. Okay, but Jacob alluded to a great point. Is how much have we not seen on camera? How many times has she threatened that gun against him? How many times has she put her hands on him that we didn't see on that Facebook Live? So, and I stress this to both men and women, if you are in an abusive relationship or marriage, please, please, please seek help, especially if you have children, because you need to be there for your kids. They don't need to be without one of their parents or both of their parents or anything like that. So please seek help. Find friends, find family, call a hotline, Google, do something, okay? I understand it's hard, but you can get the help and the tools you need to get out and get a better life for yourself. And on that note, we're going to liven it up here a little bit. And I'm going to do something a little – oh, go ahead, Scott. I'm sorry.
Yeah, let me make a suggestion. The local news one, I think you should lead off with it next Wednesday. That's what I would do. I've got a lot to say about that one. I don't know if you can get it done. Do the topic justice in 10 minutes. So if you have a 4th topic, then I would advise you to go with that, and then we can lead off with it next Wednesday.
That's what I would.
You know what? Okay, absolutely. We can definitely do that. In fact, we'll save that one for probably the first 20, 30 minutes.
Right.
But
yeah.
You know
because I've got a lot. There's a lot of substance, and I added to it yesterday with what I had to do out in Boca. So.
Okay, then I got you. And actually, you know what? This was one here. You know what? This is one that we actually did not get a chance to cover last week.
Okay.
Stanford University, the Michael Irvin incident, and women lying to hurt men. And you know what? I'll swing it over to Jacob to lead this one off because he actually had a pretty great commentary on TikTok. Please find him on TikTok. He's doing his Pundit Minutes, and they're very informative. So find him on TikTok. What's your TikTok again? Jake the Pundit?
Jake the Pundit 1.
Jake the Pundit 1 on TikTok. Please find him. He's got great commentary. It's no more than about a minute and a half, 2 minutes.
He's about to hit 11,000, by the way.
Yeah, he posted it really at the right time, which is great. But absolutely, go ahead, lead this off, man.
Okay, give this story. Everybody knows the Michael Irvin incident. Somebody in that hotel room basically lied with a 40. He was a friendly. As you know, this Jay, not Jay. Excuse me, Scott. he has a nice 45-second conversation with someone that works at the hotel.
Right.
They look like they're friendly. It's on video.
Right.
It's all friendly. And then all of a sudden there is a accusation that he was talking sexual assault, or he was all that with her. Well, it cost him Super Bowl money. He couldn't work at all. And then all that kind of stuff. Then they showed the video. They were trying to hide the video. They showed the video, and all he did was touch her on the elbow. There wasn't anything going on. Yep, that's it. And it was all that. And then after all that time, they're trying to hide it. Then now we have Stanford University. Now we have a Stanford University story. This woman, don't know if it was, I do not know the whole darn story of this thing, but on one guy, I know two different men, she lied about being raped and assaulted. Both times with the campus police, she said to him, "No, I don't want to get the cops involved. I'm afraid." Second time, they got a little bit, just a little bit questionable about that. And then they kind of start looking back at things, and then they confront her again. She says she lied about both of them. She admitted it, that she lied about both of those. This one, I believe she was arrested after the second time, because part of the thing is like also using police resources. See, I think she was arrested for using police resources against. But this is the deal. We talked about the transgender hurting women. This kind of crap hurts women just as bad. Mm-hmm. When you have a hate toward men and you want to get the accusation. I just saw another one today, by the way, this morning. There was a woman that decided she wanted to record herself on Facebook Live again. She was on Facebook Live and getting recorded. Oh yeah, she was recorded on Facebook Live saying, "Oh yeah," she was hitting herself with a hammer and saying she's going to accuse her boyfriend of assault. She was saying it on Facebook. Of course, she's an idiot. But of course, she's an idiot, and it's like, of course, they believed her at first, and then it shows up on Facebook, but then also her friend ratted her out too, because this is not right, and it's like. When are they going to get it? When are people do that going to get arrested? Because this kind of stuff makes things worse on legitimate women who are in trouble, who are assaulted, who are afraid for their life. Right. They're afraid to talk about that they're raped because they're embarrassed. They don't know if anybody's going to believe them. We get thousands and thousands and thousands of these stories a day. And we're getting this. And you keep getting liars like this. And then that just hurts the legitimate cases out there. When is this going to end? I don't know, but it's like, is it going to end when social media starts to simmer down? There was a recent incident with Jonathan Majors too. Yeah. Didn't she recant her story? And he just lost his U.S. Army. He just lost his U.S. Army gig. He did. And didn't she just recant her story? Yeah, I think so. Wow. She didn't even need to recant the story. I read through the thing. I saw the thing. I'm like, this is BS. Yeah. I absolutely said that this is BS the minute I saw the thing in the first place. And the thing is he going to get that job back? I doubt it. Is this going to hurt him in other gigs? He had just gotten 3 straight movies. Oh, yeah. It's going to hurt his career because people don't look in nuance. Not on social media. They don't ask questions the way we do. And you want to know what's sad? Dana White was caught on video slapping his wife and didn't get not near what Jonathan Majors got in the last week. And I think you want to know, and very, very true. But you want to know something? I'll bet you what saved him, and this is the truth. I'll bet you what saved him is she hitting first. If he would have initiated, I'm not saying what he did was right. I'm saying if he would have initiated and she did nothing and she was a victim through the whole thing, he's gone. He is done. Right. I mean, and I'm not saying what he did was right or did anything. I'm saying I think what saved him in the mind's eye of certain people was that he got her back. That she had done it first. Doesn't make it right. It's just that's what saved. Because if that's what initiated in the court of public opinion, is that he's already sliced in the court of like half the people. But in the court of public opinion, if he does that whole thing on there and she did nothing and she's a victim, he's screwed. No matter who he is. I mean, in that case, in this era, Donald Trump would be screwed. if he did it on camera with no initiation.
Right.
And you know that he gets away with everything.
Yeah.
So I think he would be screwed. You don't do anything like that. But that's what saved. I'm just saying that, I mean, with Jonathan Majors, and there's nothing like that, and there's the whole story and everything. You don't just do that. Not in this era, not of anything. No one gets away with it if they start it like that. So she knew that, and now she's hurting his career.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Jonathan Majors.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is he called 911 out of concern for his girlfriend, and then she changed her story when the cops got there. But I want to swing it over to Scott on your and your thoughts about this, and just, you know, the whole court of public opinion thing, like Jake alluded to, and your thoughts on how severe it is to somebody, one in particular, who's innocent.
Well, I mean, number one, in Dana White's case, he could sit here and make a case for self-defense because he didn't initiate it. So, I mean, everybody has a right to defend themselves. I mean, right or wrong, somebody initiates it. What are you going to do? Just stand there and take it? No, I don't care how high it is or not. It is what it is. Michael Irvin, that was just a bad situation. The hotel trying to cover it up. Really? Okay, and all of a sudden we find out otherwise. If I were him, I'd be slapping a lawsuit against the woman, the hotel, and anybody else that he can do it with, and trying to recover money from the NFL Network, if indeed they, or ESPN or whoever sent them home. Because to me, you know, whatever heard innocent until proven guilty. Here we got people proven guilty until innocent or whatever. That certainly runs that out the table. And women hurting, man, I just think the whole thing is stupid. You know, this is something that happens more than we want to even admit, right? But yet we're always looking at it from the other side. So, you know, I just think it's stupid, you know, but it's out there. I mean, how many times have we seen it throughout our lifetime where, you know, I know women are, a lot of us, you know, we love them, and it's always good to have one, but all men and women do have a guilty side when it comes to what their intentions are, whether we want to understand it or not. Michael Irvin's reputation for a period of time took another hit, right? Because of this thing, because there were some things that occurred that people wish they didn't occur. And the more, what about the situation in Duke, right? Where one individual, I don't remember what sport it was wrongly accused.
Lacrosse.
Right.
Lacrosse 2006. Yep, I remember it.
And then you got that, and all of a sudden, you know, a person's reputation takes a hit.
Yeah.
So where does all this stuff really come to a head? You tell me. I don't care who you're talking about, but your topic is, okay, women lying to hurt men. I'm not going to sit here and tell you Trevor Bauer's totally innocent or isn't innocent, or, you know, Robert Kraft did what he did. You know, I mean, because these are all, well, some of them may be sexually related and not. And, you know, until you have a camera or anything like that, who knows who did what? The only thing that we all know is what occurred on camera was a Ray Rice situation. We all saw where that went. He never played football again, you know. So if you have it on camera, then it's one thing. But they always say even during Watergate, the cover-up, you know, could be worse than the crime.
Yeah, that's true.
And you know something, I'll tell you. The biggest thing, I was going to say this. You guys get this. I stayed busy, so I don't think he's back on the air yet, is he? Michael Irvin.
I haven't seen him.
Yeah, actually, isn't he with ESPN? I think he went.
I think it was the NFL Network, but I haven't seen him. It's like,
right.
That's what I was going to say. If he isn't back, they started this as you're suspended and just going to take it home here for the Super Bowl. You're taking money out of his pocket over this. He needs to. The biggest thing with him, he needs to sue Marriott. He needs to sue this whole thing, get his money, and get out.
I think ESPN has him on with Stephen A. Smith once a week to do that because they came to their senses knowing, all right, you know, it wasn't his fault. But yeah, I think that Michael Irvin should get legal representation in both instances to try to recover it. You know, listen, he's had run-ins before, so reputation may not have done him a whole lot of justice. But in this situation, I've always been a firm believer you have to judge every individual situation as a case-by-case basis. So, yeah, I'm with you all the way, Jacob and Denz, about it. But, you know, I mean, the topic speaks for itself. It can go, you know, women lying to hurt men. There might be some men could go the other way around too.
Oh, you know, the revenge will come, and it's like, and that's as sick as anything.
Right.
Because we're living in a world so much of just that victim. Like I said, victimhood as currency. We've lived this. I brought this up last week or a couple of weeks ago, Jay. I brought this up. Remember when I brought up Jussie Smollett?
Yes.
Having two bodybuilders. When you're his whole thing, he said, was he's trying to help his career. He's trying. Is he right? They didn't say that. He wanted to help his career.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. Okay. You have two bodybuilders in the middle of a thing and it's a video and everything like that. Your first thought is to get your butt kicked. It isn't to choreograph a thing where you're whipping two big muscled black guys in an era where this would be a gay superhero.
Right.
Yeah.
If he is on camera showing that and it's and if it looks like a good choreography.
Mm-hmm.
If he's on camera whipping two muscle guys, and he's a gay actor, he'd be the king of Marvel right now. He would probably be the new. He would probably be the new with Chadwick Boseman gone. He'd probably be the new Black Panther right now.
Right.
Oh yeah, true.
He would probably, and then they would say that this Black Panther is legitimately a badass because it showed it on camera. But his first thought process in the head was to be a victim. And this is the whole thing where they're doing when you're lying to hurt anyone. It is to be a victim. There isn't any, because of the way that we keep putting it on social media, there's no currency in overcoming. It's all into being the victim.
Yeah. And it's about attention because just like I've said, attention has become I'm not going to say it's a new addiction because it had been like that for like the last 10 years. But I mean, I will say attention and addiction are the two vices on this planet. But so real quick, before we wrap up here, because we got to get Scott over to the Sports Exchange, and that is the effect of taxes on the future of free agency in sports.
You know what? Can I make a suggestion on this one as well? Do you mind?
Sure. Oh, good. Okay. Go ahead.
This is one you should pair with the other one for next week.
Okay.
We can do that. I was just going to say real quickly, and we should pair it for the next week. That's absolutely correct. Make it a part 2. But the whole point of it for everybody that's watching, the thing about the tax on the future of free agency in sports is because Steph Curry, they just found out he made $33 million last year. $6.5 million went to taxes in California. And then guess what? Tyreek Hill is in Miami. Tyreek Hill's in Miami. 0 taxes in Florida.
No state tax. No state tax.
How many people will go? Huh?
All I can tell you is we got 2 unbelievable topics with this one and the local sports for next week. So,
you bet.
Having been in this business, folks, you know what? We look forward to having you join us next week because you want to talk about a good, strong 1-2 punch of topics. We definitely have them next week. Take my word. Take Jacob's word and take Denzel's. We have 2 dynamites.
Yes. These are definitely going to be blockbusters. But with that said, we'll go ahead and wrap up here. So right after we finish, boogie on over to the South Florida Tribune and check out the Sports Exchange. Scott's going to be there. Jacob's going to be there. JB's going to be there. Cody's going to be there. So
Candy will be there too.
Candy Epping's going to be there as well. So please go over there and take part in one of the best sports shows on YouTube, on Facebook and Twitter, on the network. Jacob, real quick, where can everybody find you?
Nowhere. I'm so bored. No.
In between semesters, he sleeps on Scott's couch. Go ahead.
Absolutely, totally. Yeah, I'm pissing off Candy by now because I won't clean up after myself. No. No. All right. Sunday nights, Basket Bros. Monday nights. By the way, Monday nights, I am the Pundit Views. And guess who I've got for a guest next week? Official.
Uh-oh.
It is Troy Geary. Gary is the Gary Stevens and Science Show.
From right here on this network, Troy Geary will be a host on Pundit Views. You can look down at the bottom of the screen. He'll be a guest on the Pundit Views Monday nights, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, hosted by Jacob Christner. So it's the best one-on-one this side of 2020. What else you got, Jacob?
That's 2 straight stars because I had George Eichhorn. That's another star.
Yes, absolutely.
Wednesday nights, 3 shows. This one, the South Florida Tribune, the Sports Exchange, and the Confidential, in which I'm alone with JB Ellis, and that's the only time you want to be alone with him. Friday nights when I'm called as a backup plan, Gauntlet, and then goes from there. And then working on a short film right now. So it's called The Crystal Locket with TJ Sanson. So we are, and then Thursday nights we also part-time do the Yin and Yang, and we're also working on a short film. It's like a film noir. We'll be doing like a film noir thing and shooting in black and white.
Awesome. That is awesome. And Scott, real quick, where can everybody find you aside from 5 minutes from now at you know where?
Well, all I ask you folks to do is please subscribe to the South Florida Tribune YouTube channel. Of course, I'm here on Pundits Fun every Wednesday night, get to Basket Bros. And I'm working, and No Limits is my version of Pundits Views. And I'm working on getting former FAU and St. John's coach Mike Jarvis on for this Saturday. Well, we've already talked about it. So for my No Limits show, I have a lot of shows, but the easiest way to track them, please subscribe to the South Florida Tribune YouTube channel. They're all there. They'll be on there when topic matters permit themselves. So it'll be really good. I'm targeting big guests. And you know what? I enjoy doing this stuff with you guys as well as some of the stuff that we have on our side as well. So.
And Denzel, can I say something real fast before we go? I want everybody here to see this. These were the most controversial topics we've had since we've been here. By far, all of it as a list. I don't care. It'll be seen in a few years from now, and it'll get people mad. I don't care. It is because I'm going to go into Frank Reynolds mode, Scott. I'm going to go into this. I'm going to say this, and we're going to get to this. We're going to get truth back into journalism, one way or another. It's like I don't care which side is mad at me for what I said, what may be said. You're going to get it mad. You do whatever. You don't want to hear it because it's not safe to you. We have a little trigger warning. Life isn't trigger warnings.
Well, here, you want to go that far. I'll just say this before we close, okay? Mm-hmm. Well, I'll give you a topic idea in front of a national audience right now. I think you should go back there and take Frank Reynolds and the Reagan assassination and make that a topic as well.
Well, I'll do that.
I would. I mean, you're going to talk about it. I told you about it in the first place.
You did.
You followed up on my lead, and what are we waiting for? I think everybody should go back there in the wonderful world of Google and bring it up. And
it was in 81. He passed in 83. But the biggest thing I wanted everybody to say is I am not a journalist, but I don't mind one day maybe turning into one if I have to. If I have to do it, even if it's part-time.
Well, keep writing for me. Don't worry.
Yeah, definitely. I was like, you're getting, but it's like I said, because journalism is dying hard. It is because it is going to die hard when you have a Fox, a CNN, an MSNBC, a Breitbart, and everything, and you have everything, and no one knows where the truth. We've got.
I agree.
I'm not saying we don't need these channels.
I'm waiting for your next article, Christopher.
I did probably in the next day or two. But that is the whole thing. We are never going to find truth if we have 5 places of truth.
Right.
We got to teach them all once again, not their opinions, not anything. To get back and quit saying Trump did not build a wall. He built 458 miles. You don't say this stuff because you don't like him.
Right.
You don't say he didn't do anything. There are congressional papers all over the place that says it. That it has nothing to do with the news. The congressional record. Go read it. But it's too easy to hate. It's too easy to have emotions. It's like I said, okay, Trump's a baby. We know he's a baby. We know he's a baby. We know he's a child. We know he's a 14-year-old girl. We know this. But quit lying just because you don't like him. Things did happen in that presidency, just like quit lying if it's Biden or if it's Obama or if it's Bush or if it's anything. Things happen there. And it's like, leave it to the people that are out there. They're going to say it at a bar. They'll say their own thing. But quit saying it on television. Quit lying on television. Start using the truth.
Absolutely. And for Jacob Christmas, Scott Morgan and Denzel Snipes, see you next week. Head on over to the South Florida Tribune. Check out Sports Exchange and come on right back for Confidential right afterwards. Later.